Hello, everybody. It's Gary Stuckey with Real Music. Hope you're doing okay wherever you are today. I've got a great interview lined up for you, so grab a lawn chair and some sweet tea and relax and listen to this interview. It's with Corey Schenck of the melodic prog rock band Pangaea, and they've got a new album out called Beowulf. Been listening to that, and it sounds pretty awesome. You need to check it out too. Got some great stories and cool discussions. So not going to waste any time. So here we go. Here he is. Here's Corey Schenck. I know you're excited about the new album just released, right? May 23rd, right?
Yes. Yeah, just a few nights ago. Yes. We released it at a show we played at the Oklahoma Music Hall of Fame, which is in Muskogee. And we played a show there. It was blast. And it was a lot of fun. And we did the album release that night. So
Awesome. Awesome. I guess everybody was excited with you, listening to it and everything. And great reaction, I guess, so far, right?
so far, yeah, it's been a good reaction. A couple of reviews starting to come out here and there. And people doing interviews and such. The bass player Ron and I are both doing this. So yeah, so far it's going pretty well. We sold quite a few at the gig, which was nice. It's always good to sell a little bit of merch at a gig. So
Yeah, right. I mean, as opposed to, I guess, digital, you have the digital, you actually have the CDs and things
yes,
like that too. So, I mean,
right.
I'm kind of old school. I actually, like having something in my hand, that you could put in a player as opposed to air.
I do too, and that is what we sold at the show were CDs and stuff. We also have these I don't have one with me. They're like a USB card. They're about the size of a credit card, and you can order that on the website and get the album or two albums, three or four albums, and we just load them on there and send it to people. But we also have digital downloads directly available, and that's actually what we've been probably selling the most of, probably because of convenience. So
Right. That's pretty cool. So tell me about the new album, Beowulf. Just like you said, just came out this past week. How long did it take y'all to record this album exactly?
okay, so let's see. So the process, I wrote a lot of the music. My brother wrote a couple of them, and the singer helped. The writing took a few months over time. Some were like the ideas I even had sitting around for a year or two that I brought back and fleshed out. And then we recorded some demos over a couple of months, and we shipped those to Robert Berry in California, who is our producer. We've worked with on every project. And then in that summer, we flew out to San Jose and recorded his studio over a 2-week period. We basically did 6 days a week in the studio, basically, all day, like 10 a.m. or 11 a.m. till, maybe 7 at night. And the singers would go back and work in the evening, putting vocals in some of the tracks we've done. So it was a 2-week window of actual recording.
Awesome. And like you said, you helped write majority of the songs. And so what's the process like as far as writing? Do you get inspired? Do words come easy, or does it take a while? How does that work for you?
I wish I actually knew the answer. It's never the same. It's really not. Oh my gosh. Sometimes I get all these words that just come to me. It's like, okay, I've got words and I got to come up with a melody and I need chords, right? Other times it's a chord progression, or it's maybe a guitar riff, or it's just a melody with no words. And it's a little bit different with every tune. On this record, I'm trying to think. I had ideas lyrically of what they were all going to be that I wrote. Some came pretty quickly. One that's out there getting a little bit of recognition right now is called Necromancer, and it's actually the lead off track. I knew what I was going to have the lyrics do, but the funniest story on that is we were out there recording with Robert, and it was one of the last ones we recorded. And Steve, our singer, kept going, "Hey, you got those words and melody for me yet?" And I was like, "I'll get them to you tomorrow." And I think I got them to him maybe 2 days before he had to go to record it.
Oh,
So
wow.
he was back at the hotel, learning the words, tune, and most of them came quicker. That one, it took me a little more time to get what I really wanted, I guess, but most of them came fairly quick with lyrics. So yeah.
Well, and do you have like a basic idea? Like you said, you have different ways of writing, and I know it's different processes. But what's the inspiration like for like Tomorrow Will Come? Is there like, do you think of this idea and kind of go from there, or how does that work?
Yeah, for that one, Tomorrow Will Come. It's about loss, death in particular. People in our life, who pass away. Most of the members of this band, our fathers have passed away at this point, and a couple of them, their mother has, and we've had cousins, whatever. And the song was really about going through that kind of close loss and how you carry on. To me, you kind of have a choice. When you go through losses, you can carry that weight on your shoulder, or you can let that weight burden you down. And that song is more about carrying that weight, and that positive outlook. That we had this moment. Those moments are gone, but there can be a positive outlook, and that's what that song is about.
Right.
So I think the whole band really connected with that one. It was funny when I first brought it in. I had laid the guitars and the keyboards down in a demo with my brother. He's the drummer, and the rest of the guys all came in the same weekend to work on it, and they hadn't seen the words yet, and the guitar part and the keyboard started, and they were all like, "Whoa, you wrote something in a major key! Oh my gosh!"
Yeah, right. What is that all about?
Yeah, they were all kind of laughing at me, and they were like, "Whoa," and but they really enjoyed it. So it connected well with the whole band. So yeah.
Well, I was reading your bio, and the band started what in '89. So it's been a while. So what was the idea for the band in the beginning? I mean, I know there's a lot of different sounds that you try to, you
Right.
know, that you're influenced by.
Right.
That you could probably tell me about. So, what some of the bands influenced you, and how did y'all get together initially?
Okay. Of course, the drummer and I are brothers, and then the bass player Ron. He and I met years before that in like our freshman year of high school. We played soccer together, and he had been like in some metal bands and stuff, and he played trumpet in the jazz ensemble at the school, or the band. He played trumpet. I don't remember what song he's in, but and we just knew each other through soccer, not music. And then when I graduated, I went to community college, and I was studying music, and that's where I met Daryl, the guitarist, and Steve, the singer, and some other people, and we all started talking. That was in '87, actually. And then Ron came back, started playing with me and Andy. And then by '89, Daryl joined as well. And then Steve came in shortly after that. And we started out, like a lot of groups doing cover music, playing
Right.
parties and bars and clubs and, New Year's Eve shows and things of that. We were playing everything from the Eagles and Creedence Clearwater to the Cars and ZZ Top and the Police and all these kinds of bands, Rush, Kansas, and we were doing all this stuff, and we slowly started. I started bringing some songs in, and then Steve would bring in songs, and for a short while, we actually had this mixture of some originals and a lot of cover tunes. And one day, we just decided, let's just stop. Let's do what we want to write, and it's just had that other side of fulfillment, I think. And we just said, that's it. Boom, here we go. And we started writing original music, and we put out a cassette tape a little bit after that with some music and started doing that. And then by the mid '90s, it started to really kind of launch from that point.
Right. Um, and who would you say was your biggest influence as far as those bands that you're mentioning? What's the main band that is your go-to band, would you say?
For me, now in the prog world, this gets me shot down sometimes. But for me, because of my age, it was Asia. I
Okay.
was a kid growing up with MTV, and I saw Only Time Will Tell and Heat of the Moment, and I went and bought the record, and I was like, "Who are these guys?" Because it didn't sound like Journey in Boston to me. It was a little bit different because English music, they have a little bit different chord progressions, a little different tunes, and I just going, "This is great!" And all of a sudden, that opened a doorway, and I learned about Yes and King Crimson and ELP and all these bands, and then it was just like, wow, it was just like this doorway to this new place that I did not know. And that's why, because they were my doorway into that music, and I started buying all those records by all those bands, because it was like, whoa, this is where they came from, and it's like Asia bigger. It's even more expansive music, and I got excited about it, and that was really the band that influenced me. Yeah.
Right. Um, and also, I love the artwork on the album of the new album, Beowulf. I guess you've had some similar artwork in the past on your album, but I love that style, talking about Asia and
Right.
Yes, and some of those kind of art.
So we had put out our first record, The Rite of Passage, and our youngest brother had done the artwork for us. He had this little piece he had done and said, "Why don't you guys use it?" We were like, "That's really cool." And the record was out, and then we got contacted by Ronner Kollwitz from Germany, and he was like, "Hey, I really like your music. If you ever want some different artwork, here's some of my samples. We could work together." And we sent him. My brother Andrew drew like a sketch of a planet and an hourglass and a couple of animals, like mythological animals. He sent it to Ronner, and then Ronner developed the album that would be Welcome to the Theater. And then later he did Time and a Place, and then he did the new one, Beowulf. Actually, I can turn my computer here. Uh, there's, I don't know if you can
Yeah.
see it. That's the original Time and a Place, right? Or that's Welcome to the
Cool.
Theater. That's the dragon
Cool.
one that Ronner did first.
Oh,
So yeah,
awesome.
we've had that kind of relationship with him ever since. And he actually messaged me today, and I told him this week we're sending him his copy of the CD for the work he's done. Because he's a member of this team, and it kind of in a way is like Roger Dean with Asia or Roger Dean with Yes kind of a thing. And I
Right.
like that collaborative effort. I really do. That you find that relationship, that's musical and then outside this artistic look, and you kind of work together. And it's we just have a good connection with him. So
Right.
yeah,
Uh,
this is the third, actually fourth album he's done, because he also did the unreleased record called The Reckoning, which we are going to put out later. He
okay.
painted that one as well. So yeah,
Okay. Yeah, I was going to ask you about that. I noticed in the bio it says that wasn't released. I was thinking about, so that's going to be in the near future.
we are going to release that. Yeah, we had recorded it with Robert. It was the same process. Everything was the same. And around that time, life got in the way. Everybody started kind of, some of the guys were settling down with children and their wives and things of that nature. And that's when we went on hiatus. It was right about that time. And we decided to hold off on releasing the record. And we just held it back. And we are going to put it out though. We have it. We're just like, we were thinking, should we go ahead and put it out now? And we thought about that. And then we talked, said, well, we got these new ideas. So we wanted to write the new fresh stuff and get that out first,
Right.
instead of just putting something out that's, I don't know, 18 years old or whatever it is. We want to put something brand new out, and then we can put that out later. So
Sure. I understand. Um, yeah, you were talking about the hiatus. Now, I was reading that you played the Houston Dynamo soccer game, right, with 12,000 people, and then quit, and then you said, "Eh,
yeah, I will never forget that, because we played. We're the band on the stage as you're walking into the stadium, at this huge soccer game, and we're playing this show, and there's like 12,000 people at this thing, and we played at halftime. And then and we'd already decided we were going to call it a day. And when the show ended, we were packing up the truck, and when my brother and I drove off, like I said, what a strange time to quit. It's like we played gigs to, like, the curtain opens and there's your girlfriend sitting there and the bartender. It's like we played that show. It's like suddenly we're
I've been
actually literally in a stadium with more, thousands of people, and we said, yeah, we're going to stop. And it was a weird thing. We'd already made the decision, and we'd actually started the break already, and that gig came up. We're like, well, we got to play this show, so we got back together and we played the show. So it was kind of funny. It was,
well, you got to end, on a big note, like you said. I mean,
yeah, so
you don't want to stop at Al's barbecue pit.
yeah.
Five
So I'm
people.
gonna change the story of that next time someone asks to say, we decided to stop on a high note. I'll tell them that. It does sound better.
That sounds great, man. That sounds really good. Um, well, tell me some more about the new album. Now, we were talking about the Tomorrow Will Come and the Necromancer song you were talking about. Now, what's the story behind that? What's the motivation and inspiration behind that song?
Yeah, so Necromancer, it's for me, it's like a nature versus industry and technology, and man's connection to two worlds. And so the beginning, which is acoustic, with a little bit of a string or flute sound in there, and whatnot, is the nature representation. He talks about walking with nature and the beasts of the earth, and being into the trees. And then when
Right.
the angry aggression comes in, you get that rhythm borrowed from Stravinsky, and those heavy metal guitars come in.
Yeah.
That's technology and industry creeping in on the world of nature, and that's when it kind of goes into all types of things with man, not just industry and technology, but it kind of goes after organized religion and politics, and how we create this other kind of world opposite of the natural world is what it's about. and then deeper into the song, the nature part kind of sneaks back briefly, but then the technology and industry interrupts it again even briefer, and then it goes into that kind of long segue at the end, which where all those polyrhythms are going on. And for me, that's just the part where it's kind of like an unanswered question, if you like where is this going to go? You know, it's your choice going, and it's very uneasy at that point. You know, the music's very uneasy, and that's kind of what I was going for when I wrote that. Yeah.
Well, talk about the technology part of music. You know, these days, now, what do you think about AI in that kind of situation? You know, what's your take on that?
Yeah, that's tough. I mean, it's here. I mean, people are using it. I also teach music at a college, and they've talked about it at the college. And how do you get your students not to borrow AI to write their research paper and stuff? And so we try to think of tricks to throw in there and whatnot. Yeah, I mean, personally, I'm not a fan of it. I mean, I see the attraction for some people, but I especially in the world of creativity with art and music and writing and whatnot, I think it should be more organic than that, than just going, oh, here's an idea and here's a click of a button.
Right.
Oh, and I've created my own Lord of the Rings now. It's like, well, not really.
Yeah, right.
A computer just went in and absorbed everything it could from the internet and put together off your little synopsis, and
Right.
I see it, yeah, but I'm not a fan of it, and I mean, I'm not going to be using it. It just doesn't appeal to me. This is just not. I mean, I'd rather just, and figure out the song on my own.
Yeah. Well, I think as as an artist or a creator of music and different things, most artists aren't going to like it. I think as far as because you want to create something, you want to see what you've got within you that comes out, and it's a process. You see how hard you worked on this. Like you said, you don't mash a button. Hey, it's there. It sounds great. Yeah, but there was no creativity. There was no work put in. There was no originality. There was no human. But my idea of it is, I like the idea that a human has the feelings, and that's what inspires me. You can't be inspired by a brick wall.
Right.
You want to be inspired by a person that pours their heart into music, right?
Yeah, for me, I just don't see how if you do it that way. I mean, for me, I don't understand that sense of fulfillment. How are you fulfilled by doing that? I mean, I guess some people might be, I don't know, but definitely not me. No, I'm just not that way.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I don't know if the listener might get a kick out of it somehow, but I don't know. I wouldn't be happy as far as that goes. Now, when you're working on the music for the album, how do y'all come together? Like, I know you're a co-writer. Do the guys come together and play a little bit as you're kind of got some ideas? Do y'all kind of see where it goes, or how does that work as far as the other guys?
You have done it that way. Somebody will come in with just like Ron will come in with a bass riff, that becomes a guitar part, and then I'll put a chord on top of that, and then we'll just kind of start improvising in the room. Other times, myself or Andy or Steven or someone will come in with pretty much a song written, and present it to the band. And the other members will kind of throw in an idea. Hey, what if we try this in the bass line? Or what if you try this substitute chord? Or what if, hey, we don't do the chorus here? What if we go to a new section? So the other guys will chime in often. So even when a song is pretty much written by myself or one of the other guys, it becomes a group arrangement most of the time. There are one or two songs where one of us pretty much wrote it and said, here's the parts, and the guys learn it, and they play it their way, but it is kind of more that guide mostly. But we try to do the writing credit pretty even. When people are given lots of pointers in there, then they get credit. But if it's kind of an established song, then that person's name tends to be on it.
Okay. And is there a song on this album that you relate to more than any others, or one that kind of really gets you thinking, that you kind of think that's me in that song? Is there any song like that?
That's tough. It kind of depends on the day, and that's a terrible answer. I'm gonna say maybe Tomorrow Will Come. Those lyrics did mean a lot to me when I wrote them. The one about losing people. So
Right.
that one. But sometimes if I'm kind of being a curmudgeon or grumpy one day, Necromancer is kind of what I'm feeling. It's like it kind of depends. But maybe Tomorrow Will Come lyrically for me. So I'm gonna go with that one for right now. That
Okay,
answer.
cool.
interview me tomorrow. So
Right, it changes from day to day. I totally understand. Um, and the fans that have heard the music have what's been some of their favorite songs so far that they've mentioned?
yeah, we had people who really like Tomorrow Will Come, Necromancer, Show Me the Way, all those. Wasape has been a really popular one. What the bass player has a daughter in college, and her friends love Wasape, the song that Andy wrote, the drummer, and they're really into that one. So it's so we've heard little, half the record or so that people tend to talk about. So far,
Cool. Well, how would you say that your music has changed through the years? I know you had like a 15-year break there. And did you notice as time went by that maybe you changed as far as your writing or playing style? Was there something that you said, I'm going to try to change from where I used to be? Or did you notice the difference when you were
there
performing?
is some difference, but I think there's even more similarities. It's definitely, if you were to listen to all four records back to back to back, there's a thread there. You can tell this is the same band. But at the same time, I don't think the records all sound just alike. They were written, 2 years apart, or in this case, 18, 20 years apart. But, being the same musicians singing and playing and being the same writers, there's that thread there. I do think it's a little more, maybe more mature. We're maybe a little more adventurous. We don't. I know in my own writing, I'm not afraid to go. Yeah, let's just try that chord and see what happens. It's crazy, but let's just do it.
Right.
So I mean, I think we're a little more not carefree, but a little more less fearful to try something that may seem out of left field. I don't know.
Right. And that's a lot of good music happens like that when you take chances and see what happens, things like that. That's good. Tell me this though. Now, also in the bio, I was reading about Dan Aykroyd. You recorded some music at Dan Aykroyd's. How many people could say that they recorded songs
That's funny.
at Dan?
We were working with a producer manager named Dito Godwin. Dito had worked with different artists in the 80s and 90s. And he had taken us on, and we were out in Hollywood. We'd done some recording at various studios. And we had been doing this acoustic arrangement of those Reckoning songs we had done. And suddenly we were not just gigging, we were doing like a little mini tour of like, I don't know if you remember this, I know the listeners, I remember this Borders Books. They were
Oh,
like Barnes.
yeah.
We used to gig there. We played several across the Southwest, and we played like their coffee shop doing acoustic sets. And so we decided to record an acoustic EP. It was 5 songs, I think, or maybe 6. I think it was 5. And Dito brought us in. We flew into LA, and he goes, "We're going to record remotely at a home." And we go to this home right there in the Hollywood Hills, like with the sign on top, the Hollywood sign. And it was this
Right.
home owned by what we were told was Dan Aykroyd and his brother Peter Aykroyd. And they owned it, and it's where they like did their work, like where they came in to do their script writing and their stuff like that. And we never met Dan, but we did meet Peter, and he was a really nice guy. You could tell it was Dan's brother when we met him. As a whoa. So and he would come in every day to his house to work, and we were down there kind of in this big open room right off the doorway. And he would come in and say hi, and then he would go upstairs to do his work, and he'd come down later and see what we're up to. But it was pretty cool to say, yeah, we worked in the Aykroyd's house, so that's kind of cool. So
Pretty cool.
it's like, where'd you guys record? Well, we've been to Westlake and Soundtech and Dan Aykroyd and Peter Aykroyd's house, and people are like, what? So
Just
it's
a big deal.
odd. Yeah, we had to put that in the bio because it was so odd.
It's really cool. It's really cool. Did you play Rawhide theme with the Blues Brothers? No, I'm kidding.
If we had been there, we should have. Yeah, or Stand By Your Man. We should have.
Get the whip and the yeah, right. Stand by your man. Yeah, that's awesome.
Join in and sing with us. Yes.
I love that movie. Oh
Yes.
boy. So in talking about recording now, it's got to be fun to record, and especially after a long hiatus. How fun was it and exciting was it to be back with the guys again and recording and kind of looking around, going, "Yeah, I missed this."
For me, that's my favorite part of the process. I like writing, of course. I'm that original. I like throwing the demos down and rehearsing the music. I like playing shows and gigging, but the studio is my favorite thing. I love being. Some of the other guys, they want to play shows. They like get these gigs and stuff. But my passion is the studio. I just loved it. yeah, and being there with this group of guys again, and working with Robert Berry, and just trying, hey, what if we do this to the guitar tone, or what if we layer these 5 keyboards together? And I love that part of the process. It's been my favorite for a long time. Is the studio. I
Awesome.
love
And whenever he's mixing and going through the final, I guess, stages of the song, are you there kind of listening and giving input? I mean, to me, that would be really cool to go, like you just said, hearing the differences in the mixes. I mean, it would be kind of cool to sit there and kind of say it needs more of this or that, to me.
Yes. Typically with Robert, what we've done is we record over the 2 week window. He'll spend a third week doing the mixing. And what we'll do, we'll come back to Texas and he'll start working the mixing. And after like the second day, he'll send us a preliminary set. Say, here's the first batch. And we'll say, okay, this sounds good. And we'll say, okay, we want to hear a little more of this here. What about more mid range in this instrument? So we'll make notes on every song that we get together. We make sure everybody hears it. We send it back, and then he works on it again, and then he'll send it back, and we'll do that maybe 2 or 3 times back and forth. And usually after that first set of like, can you do this, this, and this? He's almost got it where we want it at that point, because he's a genius. He's this guru of music. He just really is. And he gets it right there. And then the next set is usually just a little tweaking. Like, hey, Steve, remember there's this one part, but we don't hear it in the mix. And he'll go, oh, yeah, I forgot that track, So, because we'll hear lots of stuff in there. And so we'll do that. So it's kind of like, it's a cool process. And we've done that with him. Again, every album we've done with him, we've kind of done the same process. It's just worked. And we've worked with other people too. But our relationship with him has been really positive, and he's like a brother to us, or whatever. So,
Well, I know of the 12,000 people in the crowd at the soccer game that y'all left at, for 15 years. Or are you going to try to get some shows into that kind of area as far as
sure.
I mean, there's got to be some big events coming up for you. So what have you got as far as the future goes?
So right now there's nothing else in stone. We've got a couple ideas we're looking at. We're looking at jumping on some of these prog festivals this next year. We'd really like to play some of those. We have a new promoter we're working with. It's going to help that side of things. We're going to be doing more shows like we've done, like these art studios, and we've got this other idea we're looking at that's kind of unique and different. We're just thinking about it tackling across Texas and stuff. So we're looking at some different things. We don't have anything in stone yet, but we're open to any kind of gig. Part of the competition with gigging now, not only do most venues still want cover bands, now everywhere I talk to people, they want these tribute bands everywhere. And
Right.
they're all over the market. It's hard to find venues sometimes. It's
Right.
like, oh, we need a foreigner tribute band tonight. It's like, what? Okay. So,
Right.
it's like,
You're a tribute to your own band. That's what you
we've actually joked about that because we were gone so long. We were in the studio recording. I looked at Robert and I said, hey, we've thought about, because these tribute band things are so big. What do you think of if to get gigs, we say, hey, we're September Park, which is an old Pangaea song, a Pangaea tribute band. Robert goes, this might be onto something. So we were like, and then people go, God, they do look a lot like the real band.
All right. Very close. Those guys are really good. Hey, that might work. He looks just like it.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's a tribute band than ourselves. I don't know.
you're right. There are a lot of bands like that tribute. And I think that's the music scene has changed as far as that goes too, because a lot of people, I think maybe they don't want to pay a certain amount of money, or they don't want to have to travel to see this, bigger band. I don't know, but to me, you know, a band like yours, I mean, it's you're keeping that music that everybody grew up on, alive. I mean, it's a lot different than today's music. I'm thankful for y'all and people like that are continuing. That's what keeps rock and roll alive is keeping that sound similar. You're going to change a little bit as time goes by, but you still keep that alive. You still have fans through all the years. That's you do your part, right, to keep that to keep rock alive.
Yeah, I mean, we grew up with those bands, 60s, 70s, 80s rock, and and that's what we love. So we play like that, and of course we've done some changing, but we just write what comes naturally, and that's kind of in the process too. Why, when you look at this album, there's a song that's only 2 minutes long. There's another one there's two more that are over 9 minutes long, because we just kind of write music and see where the music wants to go at that point. And yeah, it's definitely rock. We're not going to be, rapping or two chord pop or putting a country twang in our voices to do it. We're going to do what the commercial thing is right now.
Right.
Just kind of being who we are, and who we are is like you said, it's those kind of bands, but we're writing new music like that, and that kind of maybe vein, I guess. So.
Right. And if there was a band out there that you could open up for and it would make your dream come true, who would that band be?
I'm afraid to say that because that's going to start a fight among the entire band because I've all got someone different. I mean, kind of for me, my passions are such older music. Most of the bands I like aren't even really around anymore.
Yeah.
Or something. That's a tough one. I mean, I don't know. I'd have to think about that. I mean, the guys in this band, the prog bands they like, or people like Porcupine Tree, Pineapple Thief, Theater. Of course, I still like Yes. There's a band out there, or singer likes, called Carbon Leaf. That's really cool. They're not prog, but there's a good rock band with some Celtic influences. I'm not sure. I mean, if there's a really good band that draws people and they need an opening act, just let them know we're out there. I'll play for them.
Right. So if Taylor Swift says she wants you to come open up, you're not going to say no, right? Taylor Swift.
There'll be a couple people in that crowd. I mean, they might all be, on their phones while we play and not looking, but
Yeah, at least they'll be there. They'll hear the music.
Yeah, I mean,
That's right.
We're opening up for her. If only 1% of the audience watched, that would be a big crowd. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm saying. And then you could go on another 15-year hiatus. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
No. I've also read that you've heard all over the world, so you've got fans all over the globe, and that's exciting.
Tiny pockets, yes. So
ain't that cool? I mean, when you have people, there's some guy right now listening in, Zambia or something, but I mean, it's music is universal. It reaches people. There's somebody somewhere listening to your songs right now, like you were talking about, and they're experiencing life and they're relating your songs to their life. That's got to be special, especially when you're on stage and you're playing and singing and you're looking out and you're seeing the people and they're taking it in. Does that mean a lot to you?
it does. Again, just Thursday night, that's what we did. We played the Hall of Fame in Oklahoma. We did the album release, and audience was very receptive and positive. And some of the audience came to see us. A big part of the audience was the Hall of Fame's regulars that are always there on Thursday, but everyone stayed. They were very complimentary. They were clapping and cheering between songs. And I remember I was doing a keyboard solo. I believe it was in Necromancer, and I kind of saw something on the corner of my eye. I looked over, and this gentleman had come up to the side of the stage. He was peeking through the curtain, going, "Yeah," and I was like, "Okay, cool." And then after the show, he goes, "Man, you remind me of John Lord." And I go, "Okay, man, I'll take that." So I was like, "Sure." So it is. That's kind of the cool part. It is rewarding to write the music because it's in here and you record it and you play it, but there is a different kind of reward, when people are connecting to it and enjoying it, because it's fun. I mean, we had a blast, and if the audience is having fun, then it's even a bigger reward for me, and the other guys, because we're having fun.
Sure. I know the keyboard is fun and fun to listen to. I was just thinking about Doug Engel that just passed away of that sang Anagata Vida, so he's playing the keyboards and singing, and keyboards back in the day were a big standout, in music, and I've always been fascinated with keyboards. How did you get started in playing keyboards?
Yeah, so, I personally, I started music late in life. I was a senior in high school when I got my first guitar. Started taking lessons. I went to community college, and I was so far behind my classmates. I was going, "Wait, what's this theory thing? And what's this ear training thing y'all are doing?" And I had no idea. And I caught up, and I started taking piano lessons, and I started taking guitar lessons. And when the band finally got together a couple years later, I mostly did guitar. but I was doing a little bit of keyboard. But we had another keyboardist in the band, a guy named Keith Tinker, who was this like classical pianist. I mean, the guy was incredible. And he eventually left. We still talk to him. He actually co-wrote one of the songs on the record with me.
Cool.
And I became the keyboardist when he left. We looked around and we were like, well, do we want to get another guy? Because we have a good chemistry with the five of us, you know, and we decided not to. And I mean, I enjoyed the keyboards, and, you know, I had a couple, and I bought another one, and just, I took that over, you know. Now on the albums, I do play quite a bit of the guitar parts. And I love playing that. But live, I didn't play guitar one song in the show the other night for 2 hours. It was just keyboard.
Wow.
But I love it, and people also, I think what's cool for me, because, you know, liking the old stuff I do, I have a couple of Kurzweil like K2000s, which, oh God, they're 20 years old, they're not modern, but I mean but you know, I also have a Hammond. I use a Hammond KX3, and
Cool.
memory Moog sitting right over here that I used to record with. So I like the old keyboards, like you were talking about, you know.
Yes.
I like that tone in there. So you'll hear a lot of things like Moog sounds and real Hammond in concert, because that's the stuff I'm going to use. I will use, you know, the spacey, you know, effects and the strings and that once in a while, but it's a mixture of the digital and analog.
Cool.
So,
I know that's awesome. Like, you know, I'd love to hear y'all live one day, but that's the sounds though, the mixtures, you know, you got to have a keyboard in the mix. You got to have some cool sounds in there. I've always been a fan, like Journey. You know, you're talking about Hammond B3, like Greg Riley, and of course Neil Sean from Oklahoma.
right.
I think he's in the Hall of Fame.
His pictures in the Hall of Fame. We saw it. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, gotta give him a shout out because I love that guy.
Oh, yeah.
But the music though, you know, when you're writing songs, and of the level of songwriting's up here, and then you bring the music up here with it. And I believe your music does that. And it really makes a difference when you have the talent, you know, musically and with the songwriting. That's rare to me. And y'all accomplished that with this album, and great music, man. I really appreciate you talking to me today.
I'll let the guys know that. They'll love to hear that. So yeah. And we work hard, you know, and I think in our band, you know, we have a group of pretty good musicians. I always tell people, I think, you know, there's 6 of us now. We have another guy's been playing live with us now, and he's great, you know. And I think the 6 of us are good musicians, but I think as a band, I think we're pretty kick-ass. Can I say that on?
Yeah, you can say that.
Okay, yeah. So I mean, but I just think, you know, as a whole, that team effort is even stronger, and we do elevate each other, you know, in the studio and live. And I know it pushes me, you know, when I'm doing something, and they kind of tell me to ramp it up, you know, or I'll tell the singer to ramp it up, you know, and we do that to each other. So we try to get the best out of each other. But man, I really appreciate that. Yeah.
Yeah, well, no problem. I do. I enjoy some great music, and I love talking to you guys too. Whenever I do these interviews, it's great to hear stories and experience the music and everything, you know. So, but I thank you. So you don't have anything written in stone though, but you're working on it as far as shows go.
Yeah, nothing yet. We're reaching out. We're talking to people. You know, right now the focus is just this album release. And where that's going, working with our promoter, and we're doing some interviews. We're getting that out to people to be reviewed. We're just trying to get some momentum going so we can get out there and do some more shows. And because it costs money to get out there and play, you know, and you know, we gotta find a way to balance all that. So we're trying to get the momentum going right now.
And where can the fans find out more about your music and shows in the future? Your website.
Yeah. I mean, we do some stuff with Facebook, you know, and social media, but really the website is the place, you know, the Pangaea.band. And that's where we update that all the time. You know, actually, I looked in there this morning at the store, and you were talking about, you know, across the world, you know, the music. And I noticed this morning when I woke up and logged in, a gentleman from Australia and a gentleman from the UK both bought the record. So I'm like, oh,
awesome.
It just came out 3 or 4 days ago, and you know, some people, you know, these other countries already bought it, you know, so. That was pretty cool. You know? So I texted the band and told everybody, I said, hey, we just sold one in the UK and one in Australia. And bass player Ron's like, pack the bags. I want to go to Australia. He's like, let's go.
That's your cue.
We've only sold 1 record there so far. And we sold a few more, but it's like I didn't say 1 million. I said 1. You know?
He just said 1. Yeah. That's cool. Well, I'm sure you'll be seeing some more countries pop up there, and hopefully in the millions. But I'll be looking for that. I'll be hoping the best for you and seeing where y'all go, and maybe I can see y'all somewhere one day.
That's what we
And,
hope. Yeah, we do. I know there is one festival that's pretty kind of close to you. That Power Prog. Have you seen that one before?
I've heard of that. Yeah,
it's in Atlanta, so it's in that part of the country.
that's not too far. Yeah,
Alabama, right? You're in Alabama.
yes.
It's over that direction, which for me is far. I'm in Texas, of course, and just going across Texas is like, it can be, depends on where you're going, 20 hours, so it's like.
Yeah, right. Well, yeah, I totally understand that. But I thank you so much. Tell everybody that I really enjoy the music, and looking forward to hearing more and seeing how this album does. I know everybody's going to love it.
Thank
but
you,
I
Gary.
thank y'all.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks for taking time out. Thanks.
All right, man. Take care.
You too.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
And there you go, Corey Schenck, very talented guy with a brand new album with Pangaea called Beowulf. Check out their website for more information. Get you a copy today. Hey, thanks for watching and listening wherever you are. And until next time, always remember to keep the music real.